Recording in progress.
Thank you. Good evening. The meeting of the Newark City Council, please come to order. I'd like to ask you to please join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
which stands one nation under God indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, for those participating via Zoom, when we get to the item that you want to speak on, please use the raise your hand feature, and the city clerk will turn on your microphone to speak at the appropriate time. Let the record show that all council members are present, with Councilmember Freitas participating via Zoom. Okay, next item of business is presentations and introduction of employees. I'd like to ask that Deepa Iyer and join me at the podium. Hello, Deepa. How are you? So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure for me to introduce you to our newest city employee, Deepa Iyer. I'm very pleased to introduce her to the city's new human resources technician. Deepa was hired on May 16th. Deepa comes to the city with a wealth of human resources experience and knowledge. Deepa has her MBA in personnel management and maintains her professional in human resources, or PHR certification. Deepa most recently worked for the Fremont Unified School District as a personnel assistant supporting a variety of functions. Prior to that, Deepa was an HR manager for GE India in Delhi and Bangalore, similarly functioning in a wide variety of HR-related program areas. For the city of Newark, Deepa is now responsible for conducting all city recruitments, as well as supporting new HR program areas, including employee engagement, performance management and development, risk management and safety programs, staffing and organizational assessment, and other HR activities. Wow, that's a lot, Deepa. So Deepa lives in Fremont with her husband and 2 children and enjoys volunteering for the local Scouts troop. She and her family love to take food tours to explore new cuisines from around the world. And Deepa, it's a pleasure to welcome you to Newark as our newest employee, and we look for a long-standing employment with you. Congratulations. Thank you. Okay, the next item on our agenda is public comment on any item not listed on the agenda this evening. For Zoom attendees, please use the raise your hand feature if you'd like to speak. Would anyone in the audience like to speak this evening? Okay. Ms. Harrington, are there any requests to speak online?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And then the next item on our agenda is the consent calendar. And the consent calendar consists of items D1 through D12. First, are there any items staff would like pulled from the consent calendar?
Not this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you. Are there any items the public would like pulled from the consent calendar? D1 through D12? No? Okay.
No one on Zoom, Your Honor.
Not on Zoom, okay. Are there any items the City Council would like pulled from the consent calendar? No? Okay. So the consent calendar will consist of the following items. Now, if you pulled some of these things, I wouldn't have to read them. Okay, item D1 is approval of the audited demands. Item D2 is approval of the June 9th, 2022 meeting minutes. Item D3 is adopt a resolution confirming the continued existence of a local emergency due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Item D4 is adopt a resolution finding that there is a proclaimed state of emergency, finding that the meeting in person would present imminent risk to the health or safety of attendees as a result of the state of emergency, and authorizing continued remote teleconference meetings of the legislative bodies of the City of Newark for a 30-day period beginning June 23rd, pursuant to AB 361. Item D5 is adopt a resolution establishing the fiscal year 2023 tax appropriations limit. Item D6 is adopt a resolution authorizing the city attorney to execute a certification and mutual indemnification agreement with the County of Alameda. Item D7 is adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute the Second Amendment to the Contractual Services Agreement with Four Leaf Incorporated to provide temporary professional planning services. Item D8 is adopt a resolution approving contractual services agreements with M&S Engineers, Inc. and CSG Consultants, Inc. for on-call public works construction inspection services. Item D9 is adopt a resolution accepting public subdivision improvements for Tract 8498, Classics 36304 Newark Boulevard, a 9-lot residential subdivision located at 36304 through 36310 Newark Boulevard. Item D10 is adopt a resolution approving and authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order with Dell Marketing LP in the amount of $360,668.25 for the renewal of software licenses and subscription services. Item D11 is adopt a resolution approving the Road Repair and Accountability Act of 2017, that's Senate Bill number 1, for fiscal year 2022-2023 project list. And item D12, year-end budget review and adopt a resolution approving an amendment to the 2020-2022 biennial budget and capital improvement plan for fiscal year 2022. Would someone like to move that items be approved as recommended by staff, with any items approved by resolution or ordinance being numbered consecutively, and that the reading of the title suffice for purposes of introduction or adoption of the ordinance? Okay, is there a second? Okay, roll call vote, Ms. Harrington.
Council members Freitas,
Yes.
Collazo, Bucci,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hannon,
Aye.
Mayor Nagy.
Aye.
Motion passes 5 ayes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next item is a public hearings. Staff report, Mr. Bernini.
Yes, good evening, Your Honor, members of the council. Items E1 and E2 are public hearings regarding annual levy assessments for various landscaping and lighting districts throughout town. We have segregated them into 2 separate public hearings as a result of conflicts. Mr. Fajot will provide the staff report as to both items. Item E1, please.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Good evening, Your Honor, members of council. The city has 13 existing landscaping and lighting districts that provide for the operation and maintenance of landscaping and lighting improvements in various parts of the city. Each year, a public hearing is required for each district in order to levy assessments on these existing districts for the upcoming fiscal year. During recent city council meetings, council directed the initiation of proceedings for the levy and collection of assessments for all districts and directed staff to prepare the annual engineer's reports and to file those reports with the city clerk. Council also recently approved the annual engineer's reports, declared its intention to levy and collect assessments for fiscal year 2022-2023, and set the public hearings for landscaping and lighting districts numbers 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19 for this evening. Staff recommends that the City Council conduct the public hearings for these 11 districts, and if a majority protest does not exist, approve by resolution the diagrams and assessments, levy the annual assessments for fiscal year 2022, 2023, and amend the 2022-2024 biennial budget. That concludes the staff report, and happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we'll open the public hearing. So the public hearing to consider adopting a resolution for annual levy of assessment in conjunction with landscape and lighting districts numbers 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19 is now open. Would anyone in the audience like to speak on this item? E1, anybody? Okay. Ms. Harrington, any requests to speak online?
No, sir.
Okay. So, the public hearing is now closed, and does the city council have any comments? Okay. Would someone like to make a motion?
Move the district as presented.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, Ms. Harrington, call a roll, please.
Councilmember Freitas?
Yes.
Councilmembers Collazo? Bucci? Vice Mayor Hannon? Mayor Nagy?
Aye.
Motion passes 5 ayes.
Resolution of the City Council of the City of Newark confirming diagrams and assessments and levying assessments for fiscal year 2022-23. Assessment districts numbers 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Okay, thank you. So I understand that we have a few recusals before we start the next public hearing?
It's related to landscaping and lighting district number 11, which is my residence. And I also have real property and business interests related to landscaping and lighting district number 10, which is Mexico Tortilla Factory, and rental properties at 7155, 7167, 7179 Thornton Avenue, and a property at 36805 Magnolia Street. So I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay,
Yes, Your Honor, I have real property interest in landscaping and lighting district number 11. It's my primary residence. Took no part in the preparation of the staff report. The final reviewing authority was the assistant city manager. I will step out as well.
okay. Staff report, please, Mr. Peugeot.
Yes, good evening again, Your Honor, and members of council. A similar joint public hearing is needed for landscaping and lighting district numbers 10 and 11. The city council previously directed the initiation of proceedings for the levy and collection of assessments for these two districts and directed staff to prepare and file the annual engineers reports with the city clerk. Council also recently approved the annual engineers reports, declared its intention to levy and collect assessments for fiscal year 2022-2023, and set this second public hearing for districts 10 and 11. Staff recommends that the city council conduct the public hearings for these final two districts, and if a majority protest does not exist, approve by resolution the diagrams and assessments, levy the annual assessments for fiscal year 2022-2023, and amend the 2022-2024 biennial budget. And that concludes the staff report for this item.
Okay, thank you. In the public hearing to consider adopting a resolution for annual levy of assessment in conjunction with landscape and lighting districts number 10 and 11 is now open. And again, would anybody in the audience like to speak on this item? Landscape and lighting districts 10 and 11, okay. Ms. Harrington, any requests to speak on Zoom?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so then the public hearing is now closed. Does the city council have any comments? No? Okay. Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mayor, to move this item.
Okay, and is there a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, Ms. Harrington?
Councilmember Freitas?
Yes.
Councilmember Bucci?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hannon?
Aye.
Mayor Nagy?
Yes.
Motion passes 4 ayes, 1 recused.
Okay, Mr. Cotello?
Resolution of the City Council of the City of Newark confirming diagrams and assessments and levying assessments for fiscal 2023, assessment districts numbers 10 and 11.
Okay, we have another public hearing. Staff report, please, Mr. Benoon.
Yes, good evening, Your Honor, members of the council. This is a public hearing to consider adoption of the 2022 through 2024 biennial budget and related capital improvement plan. As per usual, the city followed a process to develop its upcoming budget. This includes hosting several work sessions, both related to the operating budget as well as the CIP. Those meetings occurred on March 10th, May 19th, and May 26th. At the last council work session, the council reviewed the draft budget. Tonight, it is scheduled for final adoption. Staff recommends that the council open the public hearing, receive any testimony from the public, and then consider adopting the proposed budget. Happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
Okay, thank you. So the public hearing to consider adopting a resolution approving the 2022-2024 biennial budget and capital improvement plan is now open. Would anyone in the audience like to speak on this item? Nope. Okay, Ms. Harrington, any requests to speak online?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so the public hearing is now closed. Does the city council have any comments? Vice Mayor Hannan.
Yes, Mayor, I just want to echo my comments that I made during the previous sessions. Really to commend you, Mr. Benoon, and your staff. We had some real challenges the last couple of years dealing with the pandemic and all the issues associated with it. So I want to make sure that I thank you and your staff for bringing forward not only a balanced budget, but a budget that actually presents itself with a much more positive revenue than we anticipated. So congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I would be remiss if I failed to mention we do have members of our finance team here with us this evening, and they heard your comments directly, obviously, so thank you.
Okay, other comments? Anybody? Nope. Okay, so would someone like to make a motion?
I'll move the budget forward, Mayor.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, Ms. Harrington?
Councilmember Freitas?
Yes.
Councilmember Collazo? Aye. Councilmember Bucci?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hannan?
Aye.
Mayor Nagy?
Yes.
Motion passes 5 ayes.
Thank you. Mr. Cotello, please read.
Resolution of the City Council of the City of Newark approving and adopting a budget and capital improvement plan for the years 2023 and 2024 and providing for the post-auditing of paid demands certified or approved as conforming to such approved budget.
Okay, thank you. The next item is other business. Staff report, please, Mr. Cotello.
Thank you. Good evening, Your Honor. This item F1 relates to 5 items for council's consideration this evening. The first item relates to the memorandum of understanding for the Newark Association of Miscellaneous Employees, also known as NAME. Memorandum of understanding for the Police Management Association, also known as PMA. Compensation and benefit plan for the management, professional, and supervisory employee group, also known as the management group, and the compensation and benefit plan for the confidential employee group. Additionally, this item includes consideration of an amendment to the employment agreement for City Manager Benoon. And I'll go through each of these individually this evening. I do want to note that in the instance of the MOUs with NAME and NPMA, those both are set to expire on June 30th of 2022, so just in about a week here. The compensation and benefit plan terms also run through June 30th of 2022, so also those are set to expire. The city manager has not had an amendment to his employment agreement since it was first executed in 2018. I want to highlight that the proposed actions this evening are the result of staff negotiations in the instance of both NAME and NPMA pursuant to the Myers-Milius-Brown Act, as those are both represented employee groups. Additionally, the actions related to the management group and the confidential group are the result of direction provided by the City Council over a number of months. So I'm going to highlight the significant components of the MOUs and the compensation and benefit plans, as well as the employment agreement amendment. Additionally, pursuant to state law SB 1436, the Brown Act requires a summary oral report recommendation for final action on salaries, salary schedules, or compensation in the form of fringe benefits to the city manager, as well as executive management team, and this report will satisfy that requirement. I want to first summarize the significant provisions of the proposed MOUs with NAME and NPMA. Both NAME and NPMA have ratified the proposed MOUs, the terms impacting these groups, as well as those proposed for the management group and confidential group are largely consistent. Starting with NAME, the proposed MOU provides for a cost of living general salary increase of 4% effective July 1st of 2022, 3% July 1st of 2023, and 3% July 1st of 2024. Additionally, there is a 2% increase to the city's contribution to the cafeteria and benefit plan for health benefits each year over the 3-year term of the agreement. as well as a proration of benefits for permanent employees that work less than 30 hours a week. There's an implementation of a flexible spending account of voluntary benefits, which takes effect on January 1st of 23. An increase in the life insurance coverage from $20,000 to $50,000. Inclusion of bereavement leave to include the loss of a child, as well as some other administrative and non-economic amendments, which are outlined in the staff report. Related to the MOU with NPMA, the same provisions as outlined for name apply to NPMA, but there are some additional provisions. The salary ranges are adjusted so that the minimum of the salary range for each classification in this group is 20% below the top of the current range maximum. Performance-based merit increases are adjusted to be 5%. There's an implementation of longevity pay at different levels for years of service, consistent with that's provided to the Newark Police Association in order to address parity and compaction within the chain of command. This benefit will be phased in over the term of the contract for the police lieutenant classification. There is also the implementation of education incentive pay to encourage professional development, as well as address compaction within the chain of command. This will be phased in as well for the police lieutenant classification over the term of the MOU. There is the addition of a uniform allowance for certain non-sworn represented classifications, as well as an increase in holiday and lieu pay from 5% to 7%, and other administrative and non-economic amendments, which are outlined in the staff report. Regarding the amendments to the terms and conditions impacting the unrepresented management group, including the city's executive team, which includes all department heads, the same provisions as outlined in name apply to this employee group, with the addition of the following provisions that are specific to the management group only. Salary ranges are adjusted so that the maximum of the range is 20% below the top of the current range maximum. Salary ranges will be maintained for management classifications. Salary steps will be implemented for supervisory and professional classifications consisting of 5 salary steps, each with a 5% differential, with the maximum step being equivalent to the current range maximum. Performance-based merit increases are adjusted to 5%. Increase in salary ranges for the following positions are included to address market equity. The positions are Economic Development Manager, City Clerk, and Deputy Community Development Director. Amendments to address compaction include increase in the salary range for the Assistant City Manager and Police Chief positions, as well as providing the Police Chief is eligible to receive the longevity pay and education incentive pay that is provided to NPMA. Regarding the proposed amendments to the terms and conditions impacting the unrepresented confidential employee group, the same provisions outlined for name apply to this employee group. There are no additional provisions that are specific to this group. I now want to turn to the amendment to the employment agreement for City Manager Benoon. The City Council previously designated Mayor Nagy to serve as the labor negotiator for the City Council to consider amendments to the City Manager's employment agreement. Mr. Benoon was appointed to City Manager on December 29th of 2018. Mr. Benoon has been employed with the city for approximately 10 years in a role that directly reports to the City Council, either as City Manager or City Attorney, and in that time has received only one merit increase of 2%. During his tenure as City Manager, he has not received a merit or performance pay increase. The amendment to the agreement includes a 14.7% merit increase to the City Manager base salary, which takes effect on July 1 of 2022. This is to address positive performance as well as inequity in the labor market and internal compaction. With this increase, the City Manager will still remain under market. However, this will address internal compaction by placing the City Manager salary 10.6% above the highest compensated direct report, the Police Chief. That assumes that the proposed amendments to the unrepresented employee groups are approved tonight. I do want to note that that does not include, the Police Chief position is eligible for a merit increase, and that does not account for that. Other provisions of the employment agreement will remain unchanged, including the inclusions of the general salary, cost of living increases, and benefits that are provided to the management group pursuant to that compensation and benefit plan. So the general salary increases, health benefits, life insurance, changes in the bereavement changes, as well as other changes are incorporated through the original employment agreement. So Mr. Benoon will receive those general salary increases as well as the other benefits identified over the duration of that compensation and benefit plan. And with that, the staff recommendation is that the council adopt the 5 proposed resolutions related to the Memorandum of Understanding with NAME and Police Management Association and compensation benefit plans for the confidential employee group, the management group, as well as the proposed amendment to the employment agreement with City Manager Benoon. I'm certainly glad to answer any questions that the council may have.
Thank you very much, sir. So would anybody in the audience like to speak on this item? Anybody in the audience speak on this item? Okay, City Clerk Harrington, is there any
No, Your Honor.
speakers? Okay. Council comments?
Yes, Mayor.
Vice Mayor Hannon?
Yes, once again, Mr. Benoon, thank you for a job well done. We hired an HR manager within the last 12 months, Jennifer Solito, to bring home a 3-year contract with our employee groups. Was really outstanding work, and we greatly appreciate that. But I also want to say thanks to our employees. We value our employees here in the city of Newark. They're outstanding with the work they do day in and day out. We went through a pandemic where we had to cut resources. We as a council did not hear complaints day in and day out about the services that we were not providing. Our residents recognized the situation that we were in and were patient with us. And due to some federal funding that we were able to apply for and obtain, we were able to retain some of those, put some of those services back into play. And again, as I go back to the budget discussion, we did an outstanding job on the budget. But again, big thanks to the employees of the city of Newark for stepping up and doing what is most critical in our city organization, providing service to our residents. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, other comments? Anybody? Nope. Okay, would someone like to make a motion to adopt the resolution?
I'll move it, Mayor.
Okay. Moved by Vice Mayor Hannon. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilmember Collazo. Roll call, Ms. Harrington.
Councilmember Freitas?
Yes.
Councilmember Collazo?
Yes.
Councilmember Bucci? Vice Mayor Hannon?
Aye.
Mayor Nagy?
Aye.
Motion passes 5 ayes.
Okay. Please read.
Resolution of the City Council of the City of Newark approving and adopting a memorandum of understanding between the city and the Newark Association of Miscellaneous Employees, authorizing the city manager to execute the memorandum of understanding and approving an amendment to the city's salary schedule in conformance with California Code of Regulations, Title II, Section 570.5. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Newark approving and adopting a memorandum of understanding between the City of Newark and the Newark Police Management Association, authorizing the city manager to execute the memorandum of understanding and approving an amendment to the city's salary schedule in conformance with California Code of Regulations Title II, Section 570.5. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Newark approving and adopting a compensation and benefit plan for the confidential employee group, authorizing the city manager to execute the compensation and benefit plan and approving an amendment to the city's salary schedule in conformance with California Code of Regulations Title II, Section 570.5. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Newark approving and adopting a compensation and benefit plan for the management, supervisory, and professional employee group, authorizing the city manager to execute the compensation and benefit plan, acknowledging concurrent revisions pursuant to city manager employment agreement, and approving an amendment to the city's salary schedule in conformance with California Code of Regulations Title II, Section 570.5. And resolution of the City Council of the City of Newark approving an amendment to the city manager employment agreement with David J. Benoon and approving an amendment to the city's salary schedule in conformance with California Code of Regulations Title II, Section 570.5.
Thank you very much. And the next item under other business, staff report, please, Mr. Benoon.
Your Honor, members of the council, item consider to city council compensation. Our assistant city manager, Ms. Linka Havorka, will provide the council with the staff report. Ms. Havorka.
Good evening, Your Honor, members of the council. Tonight, the council is asked to introduce an ordinance amending Chapter 2.09 of the Newark to increase the salaries of the mayor and city council members. At the May 26th City Council meeting, the information on your screen was presented for the biennial review of mayor and council member salaries per Newark Municipal Code. These amounts represent examples of various salary increases. Newark Municipal Code requires salary increases for mayor and council members take into consideration the Consumer Price Index, which was approximately 10% combined for years 2020, 2021, and 2022, and also any increases in compensation awarded to city staff since the last mayor and council member increases, which was 3%. State law allows for a 5% increase each calendar year following the last mayor and council member salary increases. Since the last salary increases went into effect January 1st of 2019, the council is eligible for a 15% salary increase effective January 1st, 2020. After considering this information at the May 26th City Council meeting, Council provided direction for staff to prepare an ordinance amendment to increase the mayor and council member salaries by 3%. That action is before you tonight, and that concludes staff presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. So would anybody in the audience like to speak on this item? Anybody? City Clerk Harrington, is there anybody at home?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Council comments.
Yes, Mayor?
Vice Mayor Hannon.
Thank you, Mayor. This is probably one of the most uncomfortable positions to be in as a council member when you're asking your residents to increase your compensation. But I'm going to be asking my colleagues to consider raising the council and mayor salaries, not by the 3% that was proposed, but by 10%. And I want to go through some figures here just to kind of give you a basis as to what my thought process was, and hopefully get your support on this moving forward. The increase from our current salary, and I'll use the mayor and the council salaries, will actually increase us from $1,247 currently to $1,284. The total cost on an annual basis to the city's fiscal budget is $2,748 for all 4 council members and the mayor. So $2,748 is what that represents. If we increase the salary of the mayor and the council to 10%, the total cost on an annual basis for 4 council members and the mayor will go from $2,748 to $6,468. This council did not receive a pay increase between the years of 2007 and 2019. We did give ourselves a raise back in 2019 of 10%. The cost of living increase would allow us, and state law would allow us, to actually raise our salaries, as mentioned by the assistant city manager, up to 15%. That's not what I'm proposing today. We've talked about this in the past. No one's going to get rich sitting on the city council. We do this as a privilege. We do this because we love our city and we love serving our community. But we as council members devote hundreds of hours not only sitting here at the dais listening to city council issues, but we represent the city on a variety of other commissions and committees. And I believe if we're going to attract, as one of my colleagues said a number of years ago, if we're going to attract talent to come and sit up here at the dais, we need to compensate them for the work that we're going to ask them to do. It's never going to make them whole in terms of the time that they're going to be taken away from family and friends, but it's going to give them an opportunity to serve their community, and at least it moves us in the right direction of paying them something that's comparable to the many hours that we're going to be asking them to invest in this community. So I'm asking that we table this item tonight, that we ask staff to come back in a couple of weeks with a 10% increase for the city council, and I would need my colleagues to support that moving forward. Thank you, Mayor. Okay. Mr. Benoon, did I capture it correctly?
Sure. I think if there's any, the staff report tonight recommends a 3% increase, which is the direction that the council provided a few months ago. Because of Brown Act noticing requirements, if the council were to change that and increase it from 3% to some other figure, then we would not be able to vote on that tonight. We would not be able to put together some red line texts. However, staff would be, of course, willing to come back in 2 weeks with whatever pay increase the council so instructs us to include in that proposed ordinance.
So, Mayor, that's what I would be asking my colleagues to do. Let's not vote on this item tonight, which would give us a 3% increase. Come back in 2 weeks with a new ordinance that increases that to 10%, recognizing that the, again, total cost to the city organization for 4 council members and a mayor will go from $2,748 per year, not per month, per year, to $6,468, a difference of $3,720. It's a modest amount, but I think it's one well-deserving by this council for the hard work that we do representing our community. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Yeah, let me just, I guess, add on to what you've presented. And I think you've presented some good arguments for that type of an increase. The one I always have looked at is a couple of things. One is you had mentioned getting people to sit up here, and it does cost time and money to sit up here, and so the salaries are really a partial repayment for that. But to me, more importantly, even is I know the time that it takes, and I know that everybody up here that is working, as I did for 40-some years, you're taking time away from work for city events, city functions, city committees that you're on, or county committees that you're on. And I don't think your work is paying you for that time that you leave for doing that. So it really does cost money to be up here. So what happens is that you end up taking your vacation time to do all these events for the city, and then when it comes time to go on vacation, there's no money left because you've used all your time. So I think this is a reasonable path forward for trying to at least make some of that up. Okay, other comments? Anybody? Okay, so if not, we'll take a motion for that. And your motion is to?
Is that the proper procedure, Mr. Banu? Would I make a motion or just simply ask my colleagues if they would support coming back? And I don't think we need to make a motion on this, do we?
As long as the consensus is clear, I mean, if the council takes no action this evening, then staff will prepare a report for the subsequent council meeting based on the information that was.
So maybe
heard
the
this evening.
cleanest way to handle this, Mr. City Attorney, would be for me to make a motion that we not support the item before us tonight on the 3% and ask staff to come back.
Well, if you wanted to, I would say I would make a motion to direct staff to come back at the next council meeting with an ordinance to increase compensation to 10%.
That would be my motion, Mayor.
Okay, and is there a second to that motion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Freitas?
Yes.
Councilmember Collazo? Councilmember Bucci?
No.
Vice Mayor Hannon?
Aye.
Mayor Nagy?
Aye.
Motion passes 4 ayes, 1 no.
Okay. Okay. So item G is the next item on this council matters. And under council matters, I would just remind people that July 4th is coming upon us pretty fast. And Newark has a new ordinance that will fine you pretty heavily if you use illegal fireworks and you're caught, or if anybody on your property uses illegal fireworks and they're caught, that the first fine is $1,000, and you can get multiple fines for the amount of times that that illegal fireworks are used on your property. So the only fireworks that the city allows is safe and sane, and hopefully you'll follow that, and you'll save yourself a lot of money. With that, I wish our Newark citizens have a safe and sane 4th of July and holiday period. And Councilmember Bucci, if I could, any comments from you tonight?
I just want to congratulate our Newark Little League All-Stars on their first win of the championship series with Fremont. We got 5 teams, 1 being from Newark and 4 being from Fremont, and we won the first game of the tournament yesterday, defeating Niles 2-0. I would be remiss not to mention that not only is our city manager a great coach here at City Hall, but also on the field, as he has won his managerial debut for the Newark All-Stars. So congratulations to Mr. Benoon and the rest of the team, and we'll be catching the games over the next few weeks. Let's go Newark.
Councilmember Freitas.
Support.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. I want to congratulate you on the State of the City Address speech tonight. It was a very lengthy and a very good speech. And I believe for 11 years, I believe it was the longest one you did. So we kept in the city on many ways, but especially on the business approach, but you went from A through Z pretty much. So I thank you for you offered to the citizens of Newark a beautiful speech tonight. And I believe that it's available on the website. So if they like more information, so thank you again. Okay. And happy and safe and sane 4th of July to everyone, especially on the residents of Newark. And I would like to also congratulate Mrs. Avorka for the Census City Manager to leading the departments to achieving tonight the approval of the 22-24 Newark annual budget. So was to countless time or countless hours to approve that, but to negotiate, but under their leadership. So thank you, because we are ahead of the game, and it was beautiful to record the 5-0 tonight on the budget approval. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Freitas. Councilmember Collazo.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Your Honor. So I have a few things. First of all, congratulations to the Little League, but I want to come back to staff and these coaches that are out there coaching. You know, not all of them can afford to pay to use the fields for practice. And I understand that maybe for tournaments they need to pay, but for a coach that's giving up his time, leaving work to take these kids out there and practice and then have to pay to use the fields. We need to provide these fields to the students, to the teams, so they can go out there and practice. We're giving them off the street. That's why we built these parks, is for our students. And if we have to pay to use them, I don't think that's fair. Tournaments are okay. If it's for a tournament, we can pay. But for a coach to have to take money from his pocket after he left work to go coach, I don't think that's fair. That's number one. Number two, Wednesday, I attended story time at the library. Jean Ficklin read her book. It was about Juneteenth. It was a wonderful event. We must have had about 30 people there. And there was, aside from the reading the books, there was singing, there was line dancing, there was a parade, and Joe was playing his trombone. It was a wonderful event. Now, are you guys ready for summer? Get ready to get your groove on. Yep, summer concerts are back. June 24th, Big Bang Beat. That's this Friday. Get your chairs out, dust them off, and take them over to the Shirley Sis Grove. And then July 8th, Isaiah. July 22nd, Cisco Kid. August 5th, The Servants. So it's good. Nice setup there for 4 of our concerts. But the best one yet, Mariachi Festival. Woohoo! On Sunday, the 24th of July, from 1 to 4 o'clock. Pack a lunch, bring your drinks, get your chairs and your blankets, and we'll see you over at Shirley Sisk's Grove. Thank you. Shop Newark.
Thank you, Councilmember Collazo. And Vice Mayor Hannon.
I always think she's going to forget the Shop Newark, but she always seems to
Always
get it
get it
right
in
there
there.
at the end.
Every once in a while, but you remind me.
I want to thank Councilmember Bucci for his recognition of our Newark team. Anytime we beat Fremont is a time to celebrate in this community, so congratulations to the team. Big shout out to the police department and the fire department. I know you're going to have your hands full come July 4th. I've been out with you on ride-alongs on the 4th, and you're covering the entire city, hopping from one location to another. We appreciate your service in that regard. I mean, our goal and our role in public service and public safety is education first. But sometimes, you do need to do the enforcement, because that enforcement hopefully minimizes the impact that these issues create on our surrounding community. So thank you in advance for the work that you're going to do in that regard. And I look forward to the report that we'll get soon thereafter. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So the next item is closed session. There are no closed sessions this evening. That leads us to adjournment. We are adjourned.